Hey guys, welcome in to the Sinnoh Power Rankings. Today, accompanied with me is my good friend Coltrain.
Hello, hello.
We're here to roast the shit out of these dog shit teams that you guys have drafted.
Oh yeah, always super hard on Sinnoh, as per usual.
Oh yeah. So Coltrane and I have done separate rankings, and we've come together and um, medianed it out.
Kind of averaged them out
Yeah,
between,
average. That's it.
yeah, between the two rankings.
Um,
I kind of build my rankings off of like a rubric. I look for certain things in teams. I'm not sure exactly how you did it, Crook, but uh, things like speed tiers. I have certain things that I look for, like do you have ground immunity? How easy is it for you to break waters, your cores, stuff like that.
yeah. Well, speaking of, that's the next slide. Um, so these are mainly what I look for in power ranking. Um, when I do power rankings, cores I'm not as big on as I used to be. Like they're nice to have, but they're not necessarily like they're not necessary. So we have pure outright power, momentum, hazard control, and speed tiers. Those last three that I just mentioned, very important. In my eyes, if you do not have these, you're going to struggle in most of your battles. Then we just have
100%.
yeah. Then we just have general overall team synergy, your support synergy, so like your mons that can status, your if you have any screens, encore users, wish passes, stuff like that to support your heavy hitters. Valuable Terra captains, especially now that NPBA has gone to mid-tier Terra, getting valuable Terra captains is vital. And then defensive, offensive cores, that's what I usually look for now instead of like your fire, water, grass, and steel, dragon, fairy, is how good your offense and your defensive cores are. Anything you want to add to that, Culture?
No, you pretty much touched on everything. The only thing I could really add is like just more elaboration on stuff like speed tiers or stuff like that. I mean, but I feel like that could be more when we actually jump into the teams themselves.
Yeah. Well, going on to our 16th team, I'll let you take this one away.
Yeah, so starting here, first off, I don't think that this team is irredeemable. It just doesn't hit the rubric very well, and I think there are some definite problems. You do have a very cool like snow core, but you lack a lot of momentum to get your mons in safely. A lot of the mons that want to come in safely are your mons that are going to be booting out. The only mon that can take a hit and U-turn out, full twitch, etc. is Mandibuds. Um, and I feel like this team's going to struggle to get a lot of its breakers in, and it's going to have to play very offensively, but it has some like defensive mons that would rather kind of draw the game out. It just doesn't feel like it vibes a whole lot when I look at it. You're missing a lot of your type charts. It just doesn't quite have that, like, I don't know, pizzazz when I look at it. Um, your hazard game is really just a Heligo, um, and your removing options, well, Volcarona can do it, is pretty much just Mandibuzz. You know, Volcarona already struggles for its 4 slots, and defog seems like a bit of an ask.
Yeah. Going off of that, Ogre Punch your fastest mon, and you do not have a Trick Room setter. Um, Ideally, when you're building a team, like obviously you might have built this as a restriction. You might have put restrictions on yourself or something, but ideally you want to have a mon 120 or above speed tier wise. Ogre being your fastest mon is really tough, especially without Trick Room. Like you have, uh, honestly, three great mons in Trick Room. I've ran min speed backs in Trick Room and it demolished a team. Um, you've got Malm and you've got Blood Moon, three mons that really that can love Trick Room. When I say can, I mean backs. If you want to go that route. But yeah, I feel like you're either going to win in 15 turns, or you're going to drag, or this is going to be dragged out to the point where your opponent breaks you, I think. Nihiligo's coming pretty much every week as a hazard mon, or you're just not running hazards at all. But yeah, it's kind of like, just I look at this team and I'm just like, eh. Nothing stands out to me per se.
I mean, I have it written here in my notes about Trick Room as well, and I don't think it was showing on here, but I guess Oakmon can bring spikes. But once again, it's another mon that is strapped for its portable pool.
Yeah.
It's like I said, the Sinnoh is geared between Ninetales and backs, and you get your Veil. It's really going to be whether or not you have like a good second sweep versus your opponent. That's just not something you can rely on.
Yeah. But you do get bonus points for drafting Mount Whittle.
100% always the go.
Yep. If you're good to move on.
Yep, I'm good.
So next up we have Chiron. If I pronounce your name wrong, let me know. I apologize in advance. And there's that classic crook voice crack. There you go. There's at least one per video. Just a preface. Power rankings don't mean shit. I forgot to say this at the start. Power rankings are for fun. We make this for your guys' enjoyment and for ours because we like shit talking teams. Don't take anything to heart, please.
Oh yeah, and a lot of teams that we picked at the bottom of the power rankings have gone on to do good things. I distinctly remember one of my seasons, I drafted a rain team, and Joe was doing the power rankings in Johto where I was at the time. And he put me solidly at 15th, and then I went on to go into the into the finals that season with that team, almost undefeated. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Please prove us wrong. Yeah. We.
Talk about the team first, actually. I kind of have a lot of opinions on this team.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so first off, this team sits solidly at 14 for me. It would actually be a little bit higher, but I did get my bribe to actually add negative points to this team. So here we are, 14. Shout outs to, who was it?
Punslinger.
In the NPBA, yeah. That got me to take some points off at that $4.27. But this team is like almost cohesive. This team feels like there's a lot of like ideas that are coming together, and they're all just like slightly executed wrong. You have like a bunch of teams that are weak to ground. You're like, oh, I'll bring Rillaboom in, so I'll fight against this EQ weakness. But then you also have Lele, so you're changing your own terrain, and then you have a sand core, but your setter's Gigalith, and which is just slightly unoptimal. And then your one Terramon is Stoutland on your sand core when you already have Excadrill and Dracovish. I just don't know when you're gonna bring it. You have Sneasler, which works with both of your terrains, but if you bring both Lele and Rillaboom, God forbid, it's gonna be hard to set up even your own unburdened sweep. Once again, this is another team that's going to be kind of a reoccurring theme here in Sinnoh, where you have very low pressure on your hazard sweeps. I mean, you have two good setters in Excadrill and Gigalith that are pretty consistent in setting them, but you're also double dipping with Excadrill. You want to sweep, you don't want to necessarily have rocks every time, and you're fighting with that over moves, especially if you're bringing the same moves up. And then your only defogger is Lurrus.
Yeah. I fully agree with you. This team is doing trying to do everything and nothing at the same time. For like my first main gripe with this team is where's the defense? Like, sure, you have Gigalith. Sure, Gorging's honestly probably coming defensive D-dance every week. Looking at this team. Rillaboom can be defensive. Like, you have mons that can be defensive, but nothing outside of Gigalith that wants to be primarily defensive every week. Once again,
Like AV, like Lele or AV Boom, but it's not like optimal.
yeah. This is another team that falls victim to you win them 15 turns, or it goes for ages and you try and win through stall. It's just, I think this team's doing too much. Obviously, round 1 Sneasler to round 2 Thunderous Eye is fucking weird, to say the least. You have a massive speed gap between Gigalith and, let's be real, I'm gonna say Rillaboom here. Because Dracovish, you're either running Scarfed outside of Sand, or you're running Sandrush. Dracovish and Stoutland is pretty much going to be Sandrush every week if you do bring it, when you do bring it. Or it can be Intimidate, but that's I'm saying 60 because Rillaboom, you don't really need to run speed on Rillaboom. You can, but that 60 speed gap is very bad, in my opinion. A lot of mons in that window can run Adamant or Modest and run max HP now against this team. If you can position your pieces right, like your Dracovish, your Gorging, your Sneasler, your Excadrill, if you can position right, I think this team can go super far. And Stoutland as your only Terra Captain in a mid-tier Terra format is very lackluster.
And on the topic of this team, it's going to be going pretty fast. Your resists are pretty abysmal in 2 of the major categories, in my opinion. You have no real ice resist, unless you're going to be tearing Stoutland, let's be honest. You don't want to use Stoutland defensively. And then you really have no mon that wants to switch into a knockoff outside of maybe Booster, Couch, and Fire. Because you don't really want to be bringing in Sneasler defensively. You're going to be very knockoff weak. You're going to be very Ice Beam, Triple Axle weak. Weavile looks like it's just having a dream matchup into this team. It's a little bit rough.
Yeah. I believe this is the team that got sniped off of Hippowdon as well. Because I think Hippowdon went round 4 in Sinnoh, and they originally wanted Hippowdon. So I think that's why they got Gigalith off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think all the Sandsetters Sinnoh wins. I think it's a total of 52.
Yeah.
I could be misremembering.
But yeah, prove us wrong. Up next we have my good friend Vox. Now I want to tell a story about Vox. I'll start this off. I met Vox back in NPBA season, I want to say 9. It's either 9 or 10. And Vox did this exact same bullshit. He drafted every Reggie. With the exact same Terra Caps. Not the same team. Slightly different. I believe I did the power rankings for that video, and I placed Vox at like 16th or 15th, and made it to semifinals. And I beat him through the power of Terra Sinistra. The overpowered bitch that is the T-Cult. Please do not sleep on this team. I am telling you now. You see 5 Reggies, prep for fucking all of them. Vox is He's a super smart player in the sense of he brings witty sets and they work. Anyway, going back onto this team, hazards are amazing. Love the hazards on this team. Obviously, you have one of the best Gen 9 setters in Glamora. And then your removal. Aleki, if Aleki's coming, you're running spin on Aleki every week because Aleki's move pool is trash. So, honestly, that's fine. And Defog Feeny is also viable. Like, you have viable, good removers. You have... Like, my only concern is that you don't have him on at 120 speed. But you obviously have Dio speed and Regieleki. So I'm kind of like, and you have access to webs. So the main gripe I have about this team is the momentum is really bad. Like, extremely bad. You have Volt Switch, Galvantula, and you have Volt Switch Aleki. And that's it. But yeah. Oh yeah, obviously you committed to the bit. You're super ground weak, you're super ghost weak. Like, the spam is going to be relentless here. But I'm proud of you for sticking to this bit, Vox, and I'll let Coltrain go now.
Yeah, I remember him drafting Reggie the first time because when I was doing the live power rankings that season. And at some point, you can kind of see my mental just breaks, and I just start posting in Braille in that chat whenever a Reggie comes out. And he did very well that season. But essentially everything you touched on is correct. I mean, I feel like it's going to be very hard to get Medicham in without having a KO previously. It's going to be really reliant on webs. Outside of your Reggie core, you have a bunch of mons that do something. Gomorrah will be, once again, one of the best setters, which also has a removal option. Theo Speed, you have a bunch of like good mons on here. I mean, the team's just held back because you have a 5 Reggie core. So, I don't know what else we can really say other than good beam team, and I hope you piloted well.
Pretty much. Yeah. Moving on to our 13th spot, we have CX. I know you have notes on this, so if you want to take this way you can, or I can do this.
Yeah, so this is like one of those teams that you like look at and you're like, wow, man's got all the demons on the team. But when I like look at it a little bit more, you know, thoroughly, start to see some problems. Once again, another team that struggles to get your hazards up as really you don't have. There's like a couple different issues. Like, your defensive core here is like kind of a fake defensive core. Scissor is like a great defensive mon, don't get me wrong. But Togekiss and Blastoise are your Terra Captains. And if you're bringing them as your Terra Captains, most of the time you're going to want them to be offensive. And Blastoise isn't the best bulky water. Togekiss is serviceable, Nidoqueen is serviceable. It's just your defensive options tend to struggle just a little bit in this team. Outside that, you have, I mean, your speed tiers are looking fine in my opinion. You can check most of the boxes all the way up and down. You got good priority. You have incredible threats between Dragapult, Gallade, Darkrai. But it's just a lot on Scizor. And I feel like if Scizor breaks, certain teams are just going to be able to push this team. Things worth note, you don't have a grass type naturally, and your electric type is Ampharos. Without committing heavily to Terra, you're going to struggle to get
Yeah. I'm gonna touch on that speed tier that you said. Cleavor loves Scarf. Cleavor is one of the number one Scarf lovers. Therefore, meaning that you have a 30 speed gap between Togekiss and Mega Gallade, 80 to 110, which is really bad. Um, I would argue trying to get a base 100 mon. But yeah,
Yeah, like it's fine though. I mean, at 80 to 110, I've seen worse. And technically, you put pressure on the top end and the bottom end. So going modest or adamant in between that range is a little bit greedy.
true. But
I could see it being fine.
yeah, I kind of just looked at this team and I'm just like, wow. Um, yeah, demons, and then I see Terrastoys, which means, I mean, at this point, I think you're going to be running it defensive if you're bringing it. You kind of have to. Like, Nidoqueen is going to be defensive sheer force without Life Orb most games. I can see AV Nidoqueen coming a lot here. Yeah, it's kind of just a team that, once again, it falls victim to, hey, let's win in 15 turns or let's lose after, you know? And it's a common theme with Sinnoh apparently this season, in my opinion. Um,
Yep. It also kind of struggles, and I feel like you bring your first 6 mons a lot of the time, and your back 3 mons are like largely matchup dependent. And
y-
the team's gonna play like the same way almost every week.
yeah. And yeah, like you have Ghost Spam, you have one real ground resist, which means you are probably bringing Togekiss every week. Um, yeah, this team just like it looks good on paper, and then you dive into the analytics of the team, and you just see the holes that this team has. Um, but yeah, I kind of touched on everything that I also wanted to speak on.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this team being serviceable though. I could see this team taking wins. I could see this team making it into playoffs if I look well. So
Oh yeah, for
going
sure.
through the rankings, but I know we've still on it. It's just because this team's almost close to greatness. Like just a couple swaps, and this team would be like one of like the top threats.
Oh yeah. Uh, moving on, we have Big Blaze. This is one of the teams that has fallen victim to the grab every mon that we can. Don't worry, I did this too. Um, but I'm out of myself here. But I've never used Mega Diancie before, but I don't think it's around one pick. I think there were definitely better options that you could have grabbed round one. Grabbing Ting and Corv round 2 and 3, amazing. Like, Ting rarely goes past round 2, Corv rarely goes past round 3. So getting these when you did, love them, great pair. Like, they're a great duo. We allowed Terra Serp for some reason this time around. But I don't know why. This thing can run defensive Subseed, Leaf Storm, Terra Blast, and Demolish Teams. Because I did that to JSauce in another league, except I didn't have it as a Terra. I just ran Leaf Storm Clear and broke his team apart. But yeah, I think this team just kind of falls a victim to you're picking up mons that are good but don't work necessarily well together. If you get what I mean. Like your Terracaps are great. Muck, Alola Muck, like it's good, but probably could have got regular muck and upgraded Tyrantrum to a better dragon. Magneton, I think you just grabbed to have a steel electric type. Tyrantrum, you grabbed to have a dragon. Like, I think you just grabbed some of these mons just because you wanted the type on your team. And down-wise, I assume you just grabbed as a spinner. So, your hazards are great. Cert being your fastest mon, like 113, is really bad. We see another speed drop between Infernape and Tyrantrum, which is what, 37? That's yeah. I think this team, once again, it looks fun. I think you'll bring your first 5 plus the done almost every week. Slash Vaporeon. And I would try and drop Magneton and Tyrantrum to upgrade to try and make this team a little better.
And if I may, I think there is a sleeper mon that didn't get drafted a whole lot in NPBA. It's actually quite cheap for the value it brings. I think it would slot in very well on this team. If you were to like drop Tyrantrum, maybe Muck in this scenario, kind of figure out the points. All you need to do is come up with 12 points here. Hydreigon is sitting nicely at 12 points.
I didn't even realize it's fucking 12 this season. What?
Yeah, Hydreigon is 12 points this season. Again, it was only drafted in Rowan, which I think is a shame. That mon has a lot of stuff going for it. If you were to drop Tyrantrum and Muck, and I don't know how many points that brings you to, maybe you'd have to drop Magneton or something. You have a lot of points that we could find here. That would be crazy momentum mon that also brings hazards, defog. Tons of great options for this team. I would highly recommend. Also hits your speed tier very nicely. Helps break that gap between 108 and probably be like 70 or 60 here. Outside that bit of advice, what I would like to see on your team, I do feel like this team is oddly passive. You have Mega Diancie, which is great.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on. We have Eric. Goat drafted Mega Latias like I did. What a goat.
Yep, that's what I would have done if I was participating this season. I love Mega Latias.
Um,
That would have been Mega Latias Jirachi probably in my first 2 picks.
I had Mega Latias, Palfin, Skyman. I was tempted to draft Jirachi and just make everyone run like 3 covert cloaks a week.
tempting to run on the Tear
Yeah.
The secret to Jirachi is just to draft it and never run Ironhead. Just never run it.
But going into this team, Terra G-Dom. I'm not sure how I feel about this, to be honest, as a Terra Cap. You really only see G-Dom drafted in lower divs, from my personal experience in leagues. And it's because you can just run Protect. Turn 1. Turn 1 Protect in front of G-Dom, and then Guerrilla Tactics is gone until it comes back in. G-Dom is running Scarf most weeks. But Terabulu, love that pick. Terabulu is so good. And then we get to the rest of your team. This kind of feels like a typical start of Scarlet and Violet team. Really. Zera, you have King Gambit. Obviously, Petulant came in later because of DLC, but the classic combo of Petulant King Gambit, it's obviously very good for a reason. You have my goat, another goat, Keldeo, and then you kind of just fall off with your last, you have Torn, Hooper, and Tinkertuff. Torn, I assume you just picked up for a ground immunity because you're super ground weak. And then your hazards is King Gambit because Tinkertuff is probably never going to come. So you're very, very hazard bad. You got very lackluster hazards. Hazard weak. That's it. Sorry guys, I have been up since 2:30 in the morning, and we're currently recording at 3:13 p.m. my time, so bear with me. Your removal is, to be honest, non-existent. Latias never wants to run Defog, and Torn. That's probably another reason why you picked up Torn. If Torn is coming, you'll bring Defog on it every week. Momentum is also kind of it's lackluster. Well, not really lackluster, it's more mid, I will say. Because you have Volt Switch, you have Parting Shot, you have and then you have 2 U-turners. Oh, you have Flip Turn as well. Actually, I take that back. It's good. The more I look at it, the more it's better. But just be careful if you're running Draco Meteor Baton Pass on Mega Latias, because you will instantly get forfeited. You cannot pass stat boosts or stat drops. This question got asked in Sinnoh. Please do not run Draco Meteor Baton Pass and use it, because you will just instant forfeit loss on the spot.
Outside that kind of stuff, I agree about the Tinkertuff. I also don't know what Hoopa is necessarily doing here, outside of being a spin blocker, but you already have Petulant. I would like to see Tinkertuff and Hoopa maybe combine. How many points do you have? Yeah, you could combine these two into a different mod and maybe get something like Claydol maybe. I think because Hoopa is 4 points. I think Claydol is 5.
Oh yeah, he has no ground type.
Yeah, you don't have a ground type. That would bring you a setter and a remover. I think Claydol would be a fine addition here. It also give you another ground immune. And to be fair, you're not the most ground weak. You do have grassy terrain, but you're gonna be tearing a lot. I actually think Darm is a fine Terra Captain, be a threat. In fact, I think you'll actually get a lot of kills this season on your team, especially if you just don't be a coward and just run in bandit every week and just be like, okay, I know you can switch in like a defensive mon, but it's still dying. Like,
Yeah.
you can just bring it in as a banded Terra threat. I think that's going to be certainly better than Scarf. There will be weeks where you want it to be Scarf, but I think if you're going to be committing it to Terra, you just want it to be as strong as possible. And you're not going to be Terra defensively, you're going to be Terra offensively. It's either going to be Terra Ice or Terra Fire most of the time. It's fine. This team's fine overall, in my opinion. Just a couple minor gripes. Your hazards is just abysmal, as we already touched on. But outside of that, I think this team's serviceable playable. A lot of momentum. You should be able to figure to maintain it safely.
Yeah. Obviously we're getting to everyone's favorite part in PRs. Well, when you're actually doing PRs, and that's figuring out who goes in the middle. Because the middle is very interchangeable.
Well, actually, on my rubric, when we're talking about people in the middle, I have almost half the people get like an out of 10 ranking based on the things in my rubric. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people are in the range of 8 to 9. Well, if you count the 9s, it's even higher. In like the 8 to 8.75 range, and 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are sitting on 8.75. So you get very compact in the middle.
Yeah. So obviously these are very interchangeable. So up next, I'll let you talk about this team.
Yeah, this team actually ranks a little bit lower on my rankings. This team does follow the Sinnoh tradition of drafting fingers late in the draft and considered but at least it's not 7th as it has been the last few years. Your cores are just kind of whack on this team. You don't have a grass type. You have like no fighting type. You have no dark type, which makes you a little bit weak to certain offensive things. It's another team that really doesn't throw as much of a knockoff massive rock weakness. They're going to be bringing points a lot, or you're going to struggle to switch into a dark type quick. You're sure you have Pat, which is like kind of dissuading when it comes to set rocks, but I think you'll be surprised how many people will see you on Pat in the back just by putting some focus in that mind game most teams to have fun with it in the draft. You have Polka, which is great to like keep hazards on their side of the teams, keep webs. Your only rocker is Lando, which is coming most weeks. Then it kind of worked with Ren to be in this spiky slot, which is fine and do what invisible knows one to do. There's good things you have going on. Kind of have a little bit of a trick if you didn't commit to it. Like, you can trigger most of your mons at low AD speed. You can only like control 3. Like Abuser Fit's going to be Rackwooded and that's not a really solid option for
What do you mean? Choice Banded Araquanid is a great set.
You got like a lot of stuff going on. Snow for Kieran Black. It's cool. It's just it feels a little bit disjointed overall. This is kind of like how I would describe this team.
Yeah. Choice Banded Arak is a great set, by the way. You should run it with Trick Room. You'll get a lot of kills, trust me. I did the same thing with Swampert in a league. I ran it offensive most weeks, and I climbed to one of the top kill leaders in the season. But yeah, I'm very happy you grabbed the Snow Cone. Ice with Curum is obviously very good. I don't know if you could have grabbed Glow King instead of Green. Understand, like, I would have done Glow King Serum over the Snow Cone, but if it was gone, it was gone.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the wheel pick in Sinnoh was like the 16th drafter picked up Urshifu's Slow King Galar.
Right, yeah, okay, makes sense. Um, yeah, I like this team just feels, I guess, not necessarily clunky, but kind of,
Just a little bit disjointed.
yeah.
It doesn't follow like a theme, you know.
Yeah, like
And all of its like options are just like half commits to those options.
yeah, like you've drafted good mons, solid mons. I don't think they really like synergize well together. I think you've just drafted like, I'll just say Lando is probably coming more defensively than offensively on this team. Looking at this, because obviously you have Kiram, you have Green, you have Gold, you have Mega Kang. Terra Rotom fan is a good Terra captain. I'm gonna say this now. I may be in the minority for this. I've used it before. Got 8 kills in like 4 games. It is very good. But yeah, this team just feels like your defensive options are very, very limited. I feel like that's gonna be the downfall of this team. As Coltrain said, hazards are very minimal. Your only removes the defoggers, which honestly is not too bad. Right now in Gen 9 draft, you can run a team with just defog. Hell, I won a league where Gliscor was my only remover, and people only brought hazards against me once because they were dumb. I brought defog once that whole league. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like you drop Salazzle for a bulkier fire, maybe drop Kang for something else. Just try and add bulk to this team. Because outside of,
Run Kangaskhan defensively. I've seen it work.
oh yeah, you 100% can. I've done it before. I legit ran a Whirlpool Toxic Confide set to beat a Terra Sinistro before. Yeah, I don't like the Salazzle here. That's like, you got a Grounded Poison. It's a fire type. You probably got mainly for the Grounded Poison and for the speed tier, but I don't know. I'm a Salazzle hater. Like, I love the Mon, but in draft, I don't like it.
I don't know what else there is to talk about with this team. It's just fine. It's like the most fine thing. I mean, you have a lot on like Golden goes back as well, but like I think that's okay as well. You know, it's fine.
Yeah.
I kind of like the core between Mega Kangaskhan and Golden Go. That kind of gives me ideas for a draft at some point.
There we go. Um, moving on. We have K and G. I assume it King. I'm just gonna go with K and G. Round 1 Dragonite was certainly a Giga Chad move. On this board.
Right into 20 is also like crazy.
Yeah. And then you got a very, very good regenerator core in Slowbro, Tangrowth, and Mienshao. Like, I looked at this team and I'm like, wow, I like this team because it just does everything you want it to do. Obviously you're kind of lacking a little bit in the physical offensive part. Like, obviously you have Terra Mienshao, you have D-Knight, Mega Aggron. It does do damage, but obviously it is slow. Donphan once again does do damage, but it's slow. Um, Obviously, I think this team is. I think it's just down so down low just because of how passive this is gonna play out. In my opinion, you have Wish Pass into Aggron, amazing, love it. Um, you have like decent momentum. You have Torn. You have Me and Shell. You have Volbeat. You have Baton Pass. Teleport on Slowbro. Like, you have good momentum options. It's just, I feel like you're gonna struggle to on the offensive side a little bit. But I can see this going far. This team going super far.
Yeah, and speaking of struggling on the offensive side, I think one of the main things that keeps this team down, once again, is like your only option to like reliably check water is this tank growth, um, which is great. Tank growth actually has a surprisingly solid attack stat to launch a power whip off, but I mean, outside that, your plan to deal with a lot of these bulky waters and even varies a little bit. You do have Mega on it. Is this just like toxic? You know?
Toxic slack off Slowbro and just pivot through with regen.
Yeah, right. Which is fine. You have like ways to work around it. And you have like two really solid setters, even though you only have two rockers. Like, I'm not gonna complain about your rockers being Aggron or Donphan. Once you and your removing options aren't great. Most of the mons that can remove don't want to, so it's really only Donphan. There's areas that this team can be attacked on. A big area that this team can be attacked in is if they set T-spikes against you. Suddenly it's going to be a little bit harder, just in general, to bring a lot of your guys in. You're going to struggle to get those off the field. You have like a lot of cool stuff. This looks like a team that I would draft. Like, the only, like, if you just replace Dragonite here with like a Lottie, then this looks like a team that I would draft. It's got, there's a lot going for it. You got big wishes into Aggron. You got infinite regenerator momentum. You have like big breaker and Terra Blacephalon. To be honest, I don't know when you really are gonna want to Terra me and Chow, but Blaseph is like a cool option. I just wish there was just a little bit more momentum to get these regenerators in on like a good matchup. I mean, Torn is pretty much your only option in that category unless you're bringing me in Chow. And D-Knight is a good one to like clean up the end game, but I struggle. I think you might struggle to actually like get to that end game cleanly, removing the key mons that need to be removed for Dragonite to set up and sweep.
Yeah, for sure. I like this team. I vibe with. I like it a lot. Yeah, it's just the offensive presence is missing a little. But I hope this team goes far. Like, I'll be honest.
Also, one major point against this team is you don't have a dark type, so it's kind of like a recurring team. And your Terra options really don't want to become like dark or normal for the most part. Maybe Blaseph, but like Blaseph wants to Terra into offensive type.
Oh yeah.
Like Dragapult is kind of like a nightmare.
Dragapult and Spic, yeah. Holy, you hope you dodge those teams in the schedule.
Yep.
My rule of thumb is if I see Spic get drafted, you draft a normal. That's my rule of thumb. You see Spic get drafted, draft a normal. Even if it's Munchlax. Munchlax is the GOAT.
To be fair, I don't think Spectre got drafted in Sinnoh, correct?
I got dropped, didn't it? In Grace. I believe it got dropped in Grace.
which is a boon to this team in particular.
Yeah, it is a big plus. Um, moving on, we have our eighth spot, which is Punslinger. You already lose points with me because you did not Terra Sinistra over Garg. How fucking dare you? If you don't know me, hi, I'm Crook. I am Terra Sinistra's #1 fan. It is my kill leader of all time. It has like 30 kills, and I've drafted it like 4 times. The mon is great, and you should Terra it every time you can. But oh boy.
Very cheesy with Terra.
Yeah. Coltrain, I do not know if you remember this. My first season was NPBA Season 8, and I did Ore. I drafted the core of Celesteela, Hippowdon, and Dracozolt in Ore. And it was my first ever draft season, and I went 4-5. So this brings back memories, that core. The core is very, very strong. Palafin you just gotta hope that if you can break one, like the physical wall or the special wall, your other one goes in. Like, Jesus Christ. The offense of those two plus Dracozolt and Sand and Terra Neuven, if you can break their team, which I believe this team will be able to very easily, this team goes in.
Yeah, this team starts off the draft with like probably the scariest first 2 months you could think of drafting. Unfortunately, they're both speed 100, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Like drafting Palafin to you is crazy. You're like, okay, try to pull me, just try. It's a ridiculous first 2 months, but I feel like it unfortunately starts to fall off after there. Garg just strikes me as a bit odd as a third pick. From that, it's a fine mon, and it brings you like hazards, some recovery, some stall. It's just you really want something that can bring Palafin and Chiyu in, and you distinctly lack that on this team. It is just Neuburn. It is just Neuburn.
Oh
And
yeah.
I guess Palafin can bring Chiyu in, but I wish this team just had more U-turn, volt switchers, and even more baton passers than just Screamtail. Which Screamtail's going to actually want to bring baton pass most weeks.
Oh yeah, fuck Screamtail. I hate them on at the moment.
I'm a Screamtail enjoyer. I think Screamtail's the GOAT.
I was.
Been working my drafts.
I was, and then it sold me finals in the Owen last season, so fuck Screamtail for right now.
Cell feels like good here as well, but I feel like it does kind of the job that Garg does, where it's like it comes in, it's kind of annoying to switch anything into like a Leech Seed, and like it's annoying to switch anything into like a Purifying Assault. It's got like quick sweeping options. It's just the team kind of waffles about with the rest of its picks. Is the way I would describe it. The rest of the picks are like they're all just like viable fine mons that do jobs. It's just they don't really support these first two as much, and that's where I think this team loses a lot of points. You have good wish targets, like with Celesteela, with Palafin, with Hippo, Garg, etc. from Screamtail, but this team just really needs that momentum moves. It really needs it, and your defog options are kind of abysmal. Once again, it's your defog is on like your Terra mon that probably wants to be offensive. I mean, you can run defensive Noivern. I've seen it work a lot of the time, but most of the time you're going to be wanting it to run offensive on this team. And then Skuntank, well, it is like a low tier goat. It only comes every once in a while.
Yeah. I feel the same way as with Terra Garg as I do with Terra Espartha. And I think they're both trap mons. I feel like they're very easy to prep for. I don't know, maybe in a lower div it might not be, but Arc,
If I can speak on
yeah.
Terragar, it's good in OU and like especially early on in the generation because it could just come in and whenever you needed it to defend your crazy team, it could. Making it the plan of your Terra is a little bit different than if I needed to Terra.
Yeah. Um, change, drop guard, put Terra on Sinister, pick up something else. There you go. Team's better. Um, but yeah. It's just the momentum is a really big thing. Especially with like your heavy hitters, like your Palafin, your Chi, your Drakazult. You're really bringing those three, Hippo, Scream, Nova, in pretty much every week, in my opinion. Unless like San has a really bad matchup, then you're not bring Hippo Drakazult. But you really want the momentum to get your hard hitters in. And yeah, that's kind of all I have for this team.
It's fine. I'm sure this team can take wins. It's just gonna struggle to take those wins.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be hard fought wins. So this might be a team that ends up positive overall in the wins to losses, but might end up with like a negative differential.
Yeah. Oh boy. This bitch.
Meadows.
This bitch. How the fuck did you guys let her get this top 3? How in the fuck?
Heck, even before Kiram.
Yeah.
And then Hart. Oh my god, this team's very interesting.
So she drafted Half Flame partly for the bit. So she won Sinnoh season 11. And Half Flame was the kill leader overall in Sinnoh. Half Flame was primarily the reason why she won the whole season. I am one of those people that hate Tinkerton in draft. I like it as a mon. I do not like it. I think it's way too passive for for the typing it has. Obviously the utility it brings is great. You have your screens, you have your encore, you have rocks, you have pickpocket after you get knocked off. You can steal their item. You just hope it's not an AV, really.
Yeah, I mean, Tinkerton is like, it's like a very funny mon that's like kind of like clawed its way up to OU status in the current gen, and it seems like it should be like the best like mid-tier draft Pokemon ever with all its funny little things it can do. But I do agree with you. I would never draft Tinkerton. It just feels abusable by your opponent.
I have.
I hate fairy steals that are not Magirna. I feel like they are traps in your draft.
Yeah.
You suddenly have a lot of pressure on them. You kind of have to bring them every week defensively, and they kind of, unless you have a second steal and a second fairy, which this team does not have, I think they're traps.
Yeah. So obviously you have like a disgusting offense. Urshifu, Ogre, Kyurem, Terraswallow, Terrapagos. This team just has like your defense is well. You have Glow King washed on. Some weeks that ain't gonna be enough. Like sure you can bring tank, I guess, but we just mentioned tank. Meadows, I just feel like you Tinkerton, like Terra Swallow, great Terra Cap. Tinkerton Phalanx, scrap those, grabs 2 other mons. And this team, like, is way better. This team goes up. Even if it's like a...
I don't know what those mons would be.
Yeah. You need a Fairy Steel and then something else. Or you can get a Fairy and a Steel.
With all that being said, though, I actually quite like this team overall. We've kind of been hating because it's Meadows, right?
Yeah.
But to step in, I do like the Snow core on this team better than I like the other ones. Bringing Snow into Kyurem seems incredibly threatening. Once again, you have Rashifu Dark, which is just one of those monsters that's gonna come in and click the funny button a lot of the time. Terra Swallow, it's a mon that I've used in NPBA, and I've seen other people use to put in just the craziest work. Just specs, boom burst, or like guts, like facade. It's really really powerful. I normally take away points for only having one Terramon, but Swallow is one of those that I think you can just get away with. Bringing most weeks and just going crazy. There really is no switch-ins for Terra Normal, Scrappy, Boomburst coming from a Spec Swallow.
Terra Swallow was 9 points.
Yeah, it's a steal. You have good momentum options. Your hazard options are okay. Your moving options are okay. This team does a lot of things okay, and I think he'll make it to playoffs if Meadows plays it well. Yeah, this team's fine. As much as we hated on Tinkaton, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have it ranked a little bit higher than Coltrain just because I really, really like your first 6 plus Swallow. Like, it is very, very disgusting. I think they work very well together as well. I wish you have a better defensive steel. That's really my only gripe with this team. Obviously you lose rocks with tank. So obviously if you were to drop tank, pick up a steel that has rocks. Ideally probably Earthworm is actually a decent pickup if it's available. Gives you rocks, gives you spikes. But hey, I'm me. You don't have to listen to me. I'm a cunt, so.
Yeah, you know, I don't even know what you would replace it with this team.
Yeah.
So,
I think Tinkerton will work. We personally just.
you know what I think I would like to see actually. It's kind of like a fake mon.
There we
If
go.
you just took Phalanx and made it a little Sand Slash. I think that'd be pretty sick.
Honestly, yeah. How much is a Lowland Slash actually?
It's 2, the same points as Phalanx. I just looked it up. If you just did that, then you have an even better Snowboard and
Terra is 3 and what Tinkerton was 11, right? Yeah, Tinkerton was 11.
Yeah.
So that's then you grab a 10-point fairy. Can you? Is there a 10-point fairy available?
Fairy, I think all the 10 points outside of Mega Altaria. Which is kind of like fairy.
Yo, an Amtherian or Grimsnarl. Screens with this would go.
If
Ooh.
you don't want to think about it too much, I would just replace just straight up Phalanx to
Sand Slash, yeah.
Sand Slash, and that's the same points across the board.
Yeah. But moving on. I'll let you take the reign on this one.
Team on my over here. This team most hazard settings, but let's be honest, you have good options there. The team's just fine. It's like the most like just fine team overall.
Yeah. This is one of the two teams that have made changes for week 2. So they have dropped Motom and they have dropped Enamorous. And they have picked up Zarude, Comfey, and Chansey. So
It's an interesting set of three. I don't know how I feel about that necessarily. I think it's kind of like a fine one.
I feel like it's fine. I think 4-point Chansey is really good here. It gives you defensive normal for spec that is no longer there. But it also gives you rocks. It gives you rocks. It gives you T-Wave. You have I don't like Comfey without Terra. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you.
Comfey without grassy terrain either.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's an okay 1-to-1. You've lost a lot of your power by dropping a Nam. And Nam was one of... Obviously, you have Lop, you have Naganadel, however you want to pronounce it. You have Terra Jolt, you have Terra Metagross. Offensive fairies are really, really good. Especially a Nam. A Nam is like one of the best offensive fairies behind Iron Val. But yeah, just going based off this, I like you now have Chansey as a really good ghost switching, along with Megalop. I feel like this team it's gonna go far. I really think this team's gonna go far. Us allowing Naganadel was an option. It's definitely an option. If we did, I was not part of it, or I do not remember.
I think Naganadel has been legal. This is its 3rd season being legal in the NPBA. And every time we have allowed it to be legal, like, why did we let this be legal? And we banned it the next season. But something about Joe just really loves letting the Megalottes and Naganadel let free at the same time.
I think.
I'll just take my hands off there.
Yeah, I think. I understand where Joe's coming from. He's trying to make NPBA stand out from leagues, because obviously every league's doing Gen 9 net decks, or Gen 9 Pel decks. Why do you think KDA is 2 divs of monotype this season? But yeah, I understand why he's done it. He's trying to get like platform MTBA to more people, get more people involved, try and like catch eyes. Obviously, we'll talk about Naganadel and the Megalottes towards the end of the season. But overall, the team is good. Like, I really have no gripes with this team, other than the Comfey pickup now.
I guess to be fair, kind of off topic, it has been like an entire generation since we let Naganadel and the Megalottes free. I think the last time they were free, we also had Ashbren.
I'm so happy I was not part of NPBA then. Holy.
I remember that season because it was Couch Cat's like one of his first seasons, and I helped him build his team, and he took Ashbren Ninja all the way to finals and won it.
Jesus. Yeah. 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 It's one of the teams that just it doesn't necessarily like. It stands out from the ones below it, but it doesn't stand out from the ones above it, if that makes sense.
Also, if your team also isn't working out with your new changes, I think it would also be fun just to go back to this team, trade back to Romeo and Am. I think you might find success there too. So, good team overall.
Yeah. Um, here we go. This is the Shazam, the team that didn't realize Coco got dropped in Grace.
Yeah, the virtually returning team.
Woohoo! Um, let's see. They got rid of. Oh, sorry. Let me go into this first. Your first three picks, pretty good. I really like them. I am using Terra Iron Moth for the first time. And I'm really enjoying it. I think Iron Moth's a great mon. Obviously Val is Val and bundle hit your hydros. That's all I have to say. How the fuck did Garchomp get to round 4?
There is a running theme of the best ground types, and Sinnoh just don't dropped it.
Ugh.
The amount of times I've had to scream at Sinnoh when I'm doing the live PRs that Lando, Garchomp, etc. is still open. Please, somebody, for the love of God, pick these mons.
Yo, Jode, can I go back to Sinnoh, please? Can I farm, please?
So, that's just a common stereotype of Sinnoh for whatever reason.
Yeah. Your removal's pretty good. Obviously you have Serena, and you have Empoleon. Drifloon, while it can be run like defensive defog, don't get me wrong, it can. You have gotten rid of the Terror on it, so part of me kind of just wants you to drop Drifloon entirely. Because I think Terra Drifloon is fantastic. I've used it before; it's great. Having it Terra just gives it the coverage it's missing. And yeah, so the changes that he's made is he's dropped Deoxys Defense and Pincurchin, and he's got rid of Terra on Drifloon. Drifloon is still there, just without Terra. He's picking up Tapu Koko, and he's making Serena and Munchlax Terra captains.
Interesting. I'm not a big fan of the Terra Captain switches, but I mean, picking up Coco is objectively better to this team. You are very ground weak, though, even more now. Because now Pincurchin was coming sometimes, Coco's coming every time. I think the team's fine. Just keep an eye on your ground weakness. And unfortunately, now it's Serena's your Terra Captain. You might have to just Terra your grass type into flying a lot of times defensively, which is going to be weird.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, obviously you lose a spike sitter and a T. You lose two spike sitters. Granted, Garchomp is. I see Garchomp coming defensive all of the time with the stem, even with the changes now. So
You have to have a EQ switch.
yeah, so you have defensive Chomp with hazards, which is honestly a really good set. Yeah, this team kind of just it's good. It's just the ground, like ground is such a prominent type in draft. You just gotta really play around this ground weakness that you have. And he's picked up the Goat Munchlax, so.
Outside that, seems fine. Team solid. Lots of good offensive top end iron Pokemon.
Yeah,
You see past the game plan, and if it sticks to it, hopefully
yeah. That's not the button. We have Shadow Gear, the team you put in first, so I'll let you run with this.
Yeah, so this team ended up in first because this team just hits the rubric so well. Like, it just hits everything that I look for. I look for 4 setters, 4 removers, and with a hazard game, it hits that perfectly. It has every single core. just up there. Like this team doesn't. I don't feel like it struggles into any matchup in particular. You have a lot of options defensively with Skeletor, Blissey. You have tons of hazards. You have good removal. You have. I mean, Landers is kind of a fake removal, so is kind of a Megalodius. But Savali and Quick Wobble are such reliable removers that I think it's fine. Um, you got knockoff. You have good like paralysis, like moves that you can bring on a lot of different ones. You have good momentum, teleport out, U-turn and flip turn, volt switch. It just does a lot. It just has a lot going for it, and I feel like it's very hard to wall. And it's very hard to break.
Yeah. I like this team a lot. My main gripe with this team is the Terra Captains. I'll be 100% honest.
Yeah, we're a little bit on odds here. I actually think the Terra Captains are kind of sick on this team, and you don't like them.
I understand where you're coming from with offensive Terra Blissey. I just, I don't know. I've always been a Terra Silvali hater. I don't see the point in it. To a degree, like I kind of do, but I also don't like it. if you know what I mean. I 100% I 100% agree with you with everything else you said. This team just loves loves what it does. Like it synergizes really well, and it has the extra source of all three Paldean starters. Yeah, like literally the only reason why this team is not first for me is because I just don't like the Terra Captains. Other than that, I think this team's great.
Yeah, like I said, it is just completely serviceable. I don't know what team you necessarily struggle into. That's the only area that I think is a bit abusable on this team. It's a bit very weak. I mean, you do have good defensive switches in the Iron Crown and Skeletor. You don't really, unless you're running AV Crown, which I mean is a fine set. It might be hard to come into a lot of blasts consistently, and then you're gonna have to like slack off your Skeletor, and then they can switch out into non-moving Skeletor. It's really like the only area that I really see problems here. But it's such a minor problem. I mean, every team typically has problems like that.
Yeah. Moving on to our third spot. We have Alexis. Holy crap, do I just see like a Gen 6 core in front of me of Heatran Clefable Salamence.
If you switch rate test to Lando, it'd be
like,
Prime Gen 6.
yeah. I like this team a lot. Like, Terra Killer, I have, me and the stupid bird have history, and I just, yeah. I won't go into it, but, me and this bird just has history. I think Terraporting on Z is a fucking amazing Terra Captain. I think it's fantastic. Obviously you have Scarf Terra normal Tri Attack. That's ripping through a wall. Obviously you have adaptability. You can Terra Blast, adaptability. Specs is a set, agility, life orb. Porygon Z has some great sets that can abuse with adaptability and Terra. I believe Hammerot went undrafted and this got picked up in Grace, which is another Sinnoh classic of leaving really good mons on the board. But yeah.
Sinnoh kind of has a tendency to draft their favorites, and then leave like demons into like deep into the 7th, 8th round.
Yeah. I think, like, obviously Tusk is coming every week and it's coming with Rapid Spin. Um, but, like, the team is really weak to rocks. Like, Stealth Rock is a really big problem for this team. Like, sure, you can run boots on Kilo, boots on Mints, but if you don't, that's 25% of their up. Yes, they get Roost. I don't get me wrong, I know they get Roost. You have Wish Pass and Clefable. I think, like, it being, like, very, very stealth. Oh, sorry about that. Rock week, Stealth Rock week has kind of just dimmed down the ranking for me just a tad. Obviously, it's still third for me, but um, overall, I really like this team. Not really much too bad about it, other than the Stealth Rock weakness, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, my notes here, it's got most of the cores and everything. Um, it's fine. I think when I was ranking this team, my notes is like, I just get some bad vibes from this team for some reason. And I think looking at it, I think I understand why I was getting that before. Um, this team is almost like fake bulky, and like you said, it's very weak to rocks. Clefable was like, it's a fine defensive option, but it's kind of, I feel like in Gen 9, it's not at the same heights of being able to wall everything as it used to. Um, you kind of are really relying on it to pass wishes to Heatran and Great Tusk to keep your team alive, which really limits its movable. The right thing you can do with Clefable is just run almost anything every week. And your enemies, if you're like, well, I could just run boots on like Mets, like on Kilowatt, that's fine. But you can't run boots on Mega Beedrill, so your opponent's gonna set rocks probably turn one every week if they can. And really put that pressure on you to have to run one on the Tusk. So just look out for that. I'm a big Mega Beedrill player. I think that one is sick, it's great. But it is abusable, and I don't know if this team necessarily defends it as much as it needs that support. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah.
Also, like your only real switch into ice moves is C-Tran, which is just not something I like either.
Honestly, I really would like to see Terra Yuxi over Kilowattrel if the points evened out. I think Terra Yuxi is a demon, and it's underrated in draft.
I like Terra Kilowattral. I would personally jump to Terra Porygon V, but that's just, I think it's for taste.
Yeah. um. But yeah, this team I think is going to go far. But it just depends how you really pilot it and what you.
Yeah.
I
This
get.
team has any auto wins or auto loss matchups, so you just have to play better than your opponent.
Yeah. And then the other bitches Sinnoh is now second. Again, I put him second last season's PRs, and he's second again.
I think it's Sam. What were we thinking, man? Oh my god, we were
But
off.
it fell to 13th. Like,
Oh man.
oh, it fell to 13th. This is definitely a team. Like, holy shit.
This team is very compact in the roles.
Tenant.
All of your mons are like very point efficient. I feel like I don't know how you got all these things onto one team.
Yep.
This is what this strikes me as. I'm like, wow, this guy fit everything in here somehow with these points, and this is terrifying. This is how this team strikes me. Like, you really do just have Mega Alakazam to come out here and sweep. You have Terra Forges, which is like an incredible threat. Heck, even Terra Gengar, which I don't think is as great
still got
It
to be
is.
prepped for.
Like, yeah, it's gonna be hard to prep for. It's gonna be like Terra Ghost, Shadow Wall rips through a lot of the teams that we see here in Sinnoh. So this team is just incredibly scary. You really only have two setters, but those two setters are Gliscor and Ferrothorn. So like, and then you don't have like very many removers, but then it's Gliscor, Rotom Heat, and Forges, which are all very good defoggers. You have not a whole lot of momentum, but all of your momentum mons are really good, and they're coming most weeks. It's just this team has very good compact roles in everything that you kind of look for as a draftable player. The speed tiers are just kind of right where they need to be. I mean, to be fair, there is a big drop off from 75 to 20, but most mons I tend to find in like the 50 speed ranges anyways aren't going to be running plus speed natures. They're already running the greedy natures anyways, so it's kind of a mute point, but is something to kind of think about.
Yeah. Once again, we see the trend in Sinnoh. In Sinnoh, where good ground types fall around 4.
It's just something that happens here, man. Outside of Great Tusk, Trade Tusk is the only mon I've seen in Sinnoh that just goes off the rip.
Yep. But yeah, holy. I helped him build this team slightly. And that's because he was bouncing ideas off of me. Yeah, holy. This defensive core of Gliscor, Rotom Heat, Ferrothorn, and potentially Terra Florges. I say potentially because this bitch can run specs Terra. Even it can run defensive specs like Prim likes to do. Obviously it has tricks that can get rid of the specs as well. Unlike Primarina. And honestly, I kind of like the cheeky 1-point Greedent. I think for 1 point, I think Greedent is valuable. In the case of, hey, here's a base 120, 95, 120 HP, 95 defense one if you really need to wall like a strong ghost type that you're facing. But yeah, this team is going to claim lives. Unseen Fist goes through Protect. I think this team's going to be just really hard to break. And by the time you eventually break it, you've lost due to Mega Zam, Roaring Moon, and Urshifu Rapid.
Yeah, that is a disgusting core. You bring in like, you're like, oh man, Urshifu Rapid or Roaring Moon is in on me right now. I need to bring my Bolas, my Swamperts of the world in, and then Urshifu Rapid or Roaring Moon just like you turn and just go straight to Mega Zam and just OHKO him. It's crazy. First 3, heck, even 4 or 5, you kind of get the point. We're blazing hard right now. Hard. We're on both knees. I'd like to play this team.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I glazed Arc last season because he picked up my Sun Terra Ente. But yeah, I think this.
We haven't even talked about Ferrothorn that much. It's such a good mon. Like every mon here needs to be prepped for, except for maybe Greedent. But every mon here you have to put respect on them coming. It's such a good team.
Yep. And it just gets outshined by one in particular, which is Fork My Outlet. Holy shit. I looked at this team and I'm like, damn. Damn.
Yeah, it's your first team, so I'll let you talk about it first.
Where do I begin? Let's begin with Zama. Zama is Zama. There was not necessarily a big debate in mod chat, but there was a debate in mod chat about letting both Zama Hero and Zama Crown be legal. Some were leaning more towards Zama Crown than Zama Hero because Crown can't hold an item, where hero can. People were arguing the steel type, addition of steel type speed extending neutral to fairy. Um, Obviously heroes here, crowns not. So this going, you obviously you picked this up round one. Really, my like, Sinnoh. Iron Trades round four again. All the good grounds, man. Like, I guess Sinnoh will just never learn a cult.
No, there's two things. I don't think it was as bad this season, but I think I still noticed as a theme. There's two themes in Sinnoh. The good grounds go super late. The good waters go super late.
Yeah.
It is a reoccurring theme.
Really, like, I looked at the same Terra Hooper Unbound. I hope you know how to, like, I'm begging you know how to EV Hooper Unbound, correctly, because Hooper Unbound, is not your, classic 252. It really loves, what, draft players call the Chinese EV spread. Needed to outspeed some mons. You needed to be able to live a few hits better, even with Terra. So hopefully, if you don't know how to EV it properly throughout the season, hopefully you'll understand, how to. Then you have G Weezing, you have Shaman, you have, Terra Shaman, you have Talon, you have Miltank, Ditto. Um, Ditto is actually very, very good on this team, in my opinion. I think, like, obviously you can slot Ditto into different teams and it will obviously work. But, especially with, like, mons like your Zamazenta, your, Raging Bolt, your Hooper Unbound, obviously they're going to prep for that. They're going to have, like, some Scarfer. They're going to have some setup mon. Especially if they set up. Ditto's just like, hey, I'll send it in and I'm scarfed. What are you going to do now? I outspeed you and you're dead, most likely. Or if you switch out, I'm now set up. I think Ditto really, really, really likes this team with the defensive core of Elo, Weezing, and Miltank. Um, Honestly, my only, like, weird thing about this team was the round 2 Raging Bolt. Um, but it worked out.
Yeah, there's some stuff that I don't like about this team. Truthfully, I mean, the the beauty of this team, I think, is that you just bring the first five into every week, and it works fantastically. Things I really don't like is that there's a lot on, like, actually I feel like Weezing in particular is back here. Um, like you, Weezing is such an awkward. Weezing is such an awkward Pokemon. It's like, in theory, like a drafter stream, a lot like Tinkaton, where it does, like, it's a lot of roll compression, but, like, it's just not the greatest mon around. Um, yes, it's a ground immune, but then you're not running neutralizing gas. I don't know when you would want to run a Misty Surge, but I guess it's an option. Um, it's your grounded poison against T-Spikes, but if you run Levitate, that's not the case. Uh, it's not the most powerful, but it's not the most weak mon. It's not the most bulky, but it is kind of bulky. It's just a bit awkward. And without it, I mean, your fairy switching are fine because you have treads. But I just don't know outside of that when you're going to be coming in on a lot of fairy moves. You kind of struggle to remove stealth rocks, and that really kind of, even though Talonflame can run boots, it just struggles a little bit. Your wish receivers are really good, and like Bolt, Zama, and Iron Crowns is going to be insane. Like I said, these first four, the really first five, are just crazy picks, and the rest are just tech Pokemon, in my opinion, into what you need to be beating that week.
100% I agree with you on that.
Just has a solid core, and then tech mons, which typically leads to good teams. Uh, but I feel like this team does have the spots where you can attack it, areas where it's abusable. That's why it's not like my first pick. It just fits my work very well. I just, it's fine. I don't think this is a team that I would like to pilot, but I think this is a team that can win.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on. I do not want to pilot this team. Um, but yeah, I do think it can win. But yeah, that's really it. For PRs. Hope you enjoyed them. Big shout out to Coltrain for taking his time out of his busy schedule to come and help me roast the fuck out of these teams.
Yeah, and shout outs to you for sacrificing your sleep as well. Really putting both of our busy schedules together and actually finding a time to come do this. And like I said, a lot of these teams, especially towards the higher end, I feel like there's really only a couple teams that stood out as weaker, but those teams are fixable, are playable. You know, a lot of these teams, especially in the mid tier, are very comparable. You guys can go out there and get a win with pretty much anything, and our opinions are very subjective. Um, you know, like a lot of people can see value in ones that we just don't. So get out there, do your best. I believe in you guys. Sinnoh's always the GOAT division.
Yep. Prove us wrong, please. We I personally love seeing teams that I place towards bottom of PRs like excel during the regular season. Um, but yeah, don't take anything to heart. If you want to DM us about stuff, go ahead. Our DMs are open. We're friendly most of the time. Um, except towards Minnow and Abyss. Yes, hello Abyss. Um, that
We almost got your team in here, Biz, even though you were in Sinnoh.
yeah,
Put you at the bottom, but you know,
we decided
we
against it.
yeah, we figured the big mod team wouldn't enjoy it, so
Yeah,
got put down. They would have revoked our NPBA credit cards, and I use that for most of my stuff, so
yeah. We need them,
we
you
didn't
know.
do that.
So, unfortunately for you, you dodged a bullet this time. But yeah. Um, thank you once again, Coltrane, for joining me in this endeavor. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. Obviously, I am back doing content. We have the Triple D Draft League, the Draft Dungeon Week 1 battle coming out probably tomorrow when I finish editing it. And oh boy, that was a fun game. So I might be here for NPBA. I don't know. Depends on the schedule. But yeah. Until next time, guys. Stay safe. Be yourself. And peace.